Hello and welcome back to the 12 Days of Vlogmas travel challenge that I'm doing with Annemarie of Travel on the Brain. So go check out her channel after you watch this video, subscribe here and like our videos because that helps us out a lot. Today, this is going to be my last video and I am going to talk about my favorite country, which is France. And when I say France is my favorite country, I'm not just saying like, oh yeah, that's my favorite country in passing. It is literally a country for which I have a very, very strong and growing passion for. In fact, I would choose to live in France if I could choose only one country where I can spend the rest of my life. It would definitely be France, because I am a Francophile, I love French culture, I love French food, I love the French people, I love everything about France. So let's get started because I have a lot to say. So we're gonna start with Paris because of course Paris is what you think of when you think of France. When people say I'm going to France, you automatically assume I'm going to Paris. For good reason. Paris is the epitome of France. It is everything about France wrapped into one concentrated package. So if you can't visit any other part of France, then you go to Paris because you're gonna get a great French experience and you're gonna have a great time. Of course, you're gonna be able to see all the monuments that you think of when you think of France, including the Eiffel Tower, Notre Dame, Arc de Triomphe, all these beautiful monuments that we all love and we all adore, that have grown in the hearts of the world as a whole. So you'll definitely enjoy those. The food in Paris is absolutely wonderful, and there's a really awesome gay scene in Paris. A number of gay bars, there's a gay bathhouse. You won't be bored while you're hanging out in this city. But my issue with Paris is that it is a bit snooty. I guess deservedly so. It's a beautiful city, but there's more to France than just Paris. So I always say that if you have more time, or if you can split your trip up, leave Paris, because Paris is Paris, and then there's the rest of France. And the rest of France is pretty amazing too. Just outside of Paris, if you can't go very far, you could visit the town of Pavon, which is this beautiful town whose historic center is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So you can get that check mark on your list. It's stunning. It's set up exactly as it was set up in medieval times. It's something worth going to see. You can travel to the Palace of Versailles, which is not far from Paris. It's a major tourist attraction. I've actually never been, but everybody goes there. And there's another palace nearby too. So if you can't go very far, then you could leave Paris and see some other part of France by doing that. But if you have time, this is what I do. So my husband, he has a job that's not vlogging, and he often has to travel to Grenoble, France. I won't even try to say that in French because I always butcher it. But he travels to Grenoble, France, and I actually really enjoy the city. It's one of France's largest cities, and it's located in the Rhone Alps region. So you will see beautiful French Alp mountains. The city has a lot going on. There's a ton of restaurants. It's got a ton of history there. You can see ruins of a church that dates back like 800 years. You can explore an archaeological museum. There are all kinds of monuments around the city, and there's a bunch of parks. The Winter Olympics took their place at one point there, and they're famously known as a city that resisted the Nazis and won. So they're a very proud city too. They have a long history of that. Also, Grenoble serves as a sort of gateway to other French cities such as Chambéry, such as Avignon, such as Arles. These cities are amazing. For instance, in Avignon, you can see the palace of the French popes because yes, the Vatican relocated at one point and was situated in France. It's a walled city. It's absolutely gorgeous. In Arles, you can see Roman ruins and these beautiful cloisters that are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You can also see the places where Van Gogh painted some of his most famous paintings. He actually relocated to Arles, France, and not far from there is where he turned himself into an insane asylum and where he painted that famous painting, Starry Night. So that's pretty amazing. Chambéry, there's a beautiful castle in Chambéry, and you can check it out, and it's got an amazing beautiful city center that you can walk around in. When I was there, it was in the off season. It was cold, but there was hardly anyone there, and it was still really beautiful. And then of course you can head over from Grenoble to Switzerland easily on a train ride, or to Italy. You can make it to Venice or to Turin, and in Switzerland you can make it to Geneva, or even all the way to Zurich in no time at all. It's a great place to base yourself if you want to experience some of France, but as well experience 2 other countries. Now, near about an hour and a half by train from Grenoble, you can get to the city of Lyon, which is a very famous city. It's one of France's bigger cities, and it's world renowned for its culinary scene. There are so many restaurants, and they're all just delicious, offering a fusion of foods as well as traditional French foods. In Lyon, there's also a beautiful city center, and the whole entire city center, the historic center, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Its city center, the UNESCO World Heritage Site spans about 12 hectares and encompasses its entire historic center, including the Basilica of Fouvier, which sits on top of a hill. It looks like a fairy tale castle, and it is absolutely gorgeous. There's some great museums in Lyon, and there are a few gay bars, and also a gay bathhouse. So you won't be bored while you're there. From Lyon, you could actually make it over to a town called Pérouge, which I love. It's one of France's most beautiful villages, and it sits atop a hill, medieval, absolutely stunning. It doesn't take you long to get there, and the photos that you're going to capture are well worth it. You can also make it to Burgundy from Lyon. Burgundy, the region of Burgundy, encompasses the city of Dijon, which is where you've heard of Dijon mustard. Well, that's where the mustard is from. And French mustard is some of the best in the world. And you can try all the varieties of mustard while you're there. And also, Burgundy wine is world famous, and for a good reason. It's absolutely wonderful. So there's a city called Beaune. And in Beaune, you can see some of the beautiful architecture. Visit Hôtel Dieu, which is this beautiful building that was designed as a hospital for the poor. And then near there is a wonderful wine shop called Marquet de Ventes. It's this wine shop has I think you can try up to 17 different wines or something like that, and it's self-guided, so you pour them yourself. You go down into the cellars, which is in the basement of this building that once was a church. And in the building, when you're touring downstairs the wines, there's also a Merovingian king's sarcophagus down there, which is just hanging out. You can just walk up to it basically and check out a king's sarcophagus. Enjoy the wine. Don't drink too much, because if you do, you'll end up buying more than 100 euros of wine like me, take them back to your hotel, and your husband will be like, why did you buy all this wine? Also, the south of France is pretty amazing. I've visited Marseille, which is beautiful. As soon as you get off the train, you're just like, what is this? Marseille is really cool. It's super popular with tourists, very crowded, but well worth a visit. You could tour a lot of the historic buildings and such, and check out the basilica that sits on top of a hill. Nice is there. I've not been to Nice, but a lot of people love it. You can visit Nîmes. Nîmes is amazing. It's this small town. It's located in the south of France. It's about an hour from like Nice, I think. But in Nîmes, you can see amazing Roman ruins that are really well preserved. There's a Colosseum that rivals the Colosseum in Rome in Nîmes, and it is so well preserved that it is still used to this day for concerts. That's insane. But there's all these Roman ruins that you can walk up to. There's a park that's called I don't know what the park's called, but it's a beautiful park. And in this park you can find Roman ruins and a watchtower. You can find gates that would date back thousands of years. The park is beautiful. There's a beautiful waterway that runs through there, and you can see a beautiful basilica. And not far from Nîmes, if you take a public bus, you get off the train, and instead of going out the door that takes you to Nîmes, you go out the other door that takes you to the other side of the town, which isn't historic. You board a bus there, and then you make your way to Pont du Gard. Pont du Gard is this amazing viaduct. It's a, well, aqueduct. It is one of the largest aqueducts ever constructed by the Roman Empire, and it is still standing in extremely well-preserved condition. Once you're there, it costs about €5 to get in. You go in and you see this incredible work of Roman engineering that used to bring water to the city of Nîmes. Now serves as a little bridge that crosses the river. It's not little at all, excuse me, but you can climb it. You can climb to the top and check out the surrounding landscape. It's very remote, and you want to make sure that you have a backup plan in case your bus doesn't come later, because that happened to me and I ended up having to hitchhike. There's no service out there, so it's quite a feat, but well worth it. I totally would do it again. And the last thing about France that you're gonna want to experience is the food. And unfortunately in Paris, you're gonna get one type of food, a lot of it modern and a lot of it catering to your taste buds, your tourist taste buds. Because when you leave Paris, a lot of the restaurants no longer try to cater to foreign taste. So you get a real flavor for French food. And French food is wonderful. It's full of butter and full of cream, and it is just rich and delicious and filling. It makes you feel very happy inside. I recommend you try tartare if you can get over the fact that you're eating raw steak. I recommend that you try snails if you can get over the fact that you're eating snails. But those are really, really good. France overall is just this incredible place, and you definitely need to explore it more than just Paris. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed my part in this travel vlog challenge, and stay tuned for more content coming from me because I'm always putting it out there. Subscribe, like, and follow me on all my social channels. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I even have a Pinterest account. So that's about it. Until next time, I'll talk to you later.